welcome to this moment of truth with NECF TV. I really appreciate you for your time and everything. Today we're going to be discussing holiness. First of all, what is holiness? Holiness is an issue, is a topic that is quite very big, and many people have different explanation of what they perceive or what they see as holiness. But today we're going to just look at what holiness is, and then why we need to live a life of holiness, and how we can actually live the life of holiness. First of all, when we talk about holiness, in a simple term, what holiness means is to live a life that is set apart for God, for God's purpose. And as believers, we're born, as believers that are born anew, God has called us into living the life of holiness, into living a life of separation, living a life of differentiation. We need to differentiate ourselves from people that are there in the world, and it is God's expectation on us as His children to live the life of holiness. We are called to live not as people that are there in the world, but to show a very differentiated lifestyle so that people will see and also see the virtues of God in our lives. In 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 13 to 14, it talks about our former ways of life. Initially, we were living in the life of sin, we were living a life of sexual immorality, we were living a life of all sorts of things that are contrary to the will and the purpose of God. But as new believers, He has called us out from that life to live the life of holiness, to live the life of total separation. And then a question may be rising in the minds of every young man: why should I live the life of holiness? If I'm saved, why do I need to live the life of holiness? Now, holiness is very important because firstly, it is a commandment from God. God has commanded all His children to live the life of holiness. And because it is a commandment, we are expected to obey. Even though as soldiers, for an instance, they don't need to obey commandments because it suits their intentions, or it suits whatever they want to do, but they obey commandments just as they've been given by their commanders. So as God's children, the reason number one that we must live the life of holiness, because it is an instruction from God. Secondly, our God is holy. As stipulated in 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 16, it says, "Be holy because I am holy." So if our God is a holy God, it's expected that we who are His children ought to live the life of holiness. We are called to show forth His excellencies. We are called for to show the excellencies of Him who has called us out of darkness into this marvelous light. So it is expected that we as the children of God show forth the characteristics of this God that has called us out of darkness. He has begotten us out of darkness into this marvelous light. So the holiness as it is actually the DNA of the God that we serve. So we as His children are expected to show forth the DNA, the characteristics, the qualities. Our God is a holy God, and we who are His children are expected to demonstrate His kind of life in our own lives so that people can see and give God the glory. And then thirdly, without holiness, it is virtually impossible for us to see God. It is impossible for us to see God. And in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 14, it says, we should make peace with every man, holiness without which no man can see God. There's one thing I want you to understand once more, is that you should never give up. Never give up as much as holiness is concerned. As you keep on growing in the Word of God, as you keep on exposing yourself to other believers, as you keep on fellowship with other Christians, we grow into the nature that Christ wants us to live. So my advice to us this day is that we should strive in all that we can to live the life, because without holiness, no man can see God. Thank you.